Today I want to talk about why I choose to practice the Walstad method within some of my aquariums. I find I get a lot of people saying to me, I don't get it, I don't understand it, it's not for me. Now, it's not for you, that's, it's fair enough, it'll never be for you kind of thing, but for me, I appreciate it. I've run a lot of different types of planted tanks. So I enjoy the fact that you're harnessing the power of symbiotic relationships between you feeding your fish, the fish creating waste, the waste being broken down by bacteria, and the bacteria producing nutrients that the plants can use to grow. And it harnesses this balance, this symbiotic relationship, to achieve a biological efficiency within the aquarium. Now, these type of things appeal to me. Just the idea of the fact that, in theory, the water should be purifying itself more and more as it ages and matures, and I find that really interesting. First, let's tackle some common misperception about the use of soil in aquariums. Many people think that soil will cloud the water and make a mess. In reality, the soil is transformed biologically into an aquatic sediment that is relatively inert. Bacteria will break down the organic materialised and stabilising the sediment and supporting plant growth without making the water murky. So basically, we put the soil in the tank and people think about the soil in the tank. What they don't understand is very quickly that the bacteria break this down. It's turned into an aquatic sediment like pond soil. Some worry about contaminants, believing soil might introduce harmful bacteria, parasites or pollutants. However, using organic untreated soil and allowing the tank to cycle it it just mitigates this risk. The beneficial bacteria actually help break down the waste and keep the water clean. So what I'm saying is, when we've got soil, it's all processed and it goes relatively inert. It's just a reservoir of nutrients that the plants can use and absorb, similar to aqua soil. It's just exponentially cheaper than aqua soil. So when we add water to our aquarium from the tap, we're adding some heavy metals like lead, mercury, stuff like that, stuff that can be poisonous to fish in high levels. And a lot of the stuff we use to treat water, like the likes of Safe, Prime, stuff like that, they'll bind these metals. But with the Walstad method, it binds them naturally. It produces what's known as docks, and these bind with the heavy metals, and then the plants can uptake them and lock these contaminants away. Also, in a typical aquarium, you may experience water parameter swings, such as fluctuations in your pH, ammonia, nitrite levels and nitrate levels that can stress the fish and plants. In a Walstad method aquarium, these swings should naturally be reduced. The system is often steadier and more well balanced than a typically run aquarium, leading to a healthier and more stable environment. Now, this is another thing that really appeals to me, is the fact that in a Walstad aquarium, the theory is it should balance our aquarium with what we've got, what we keep in the aquarium. The method, the way the system's run, should keep the aquarium steadier and more balanced. The typical way of aquarium keeping, it promotes these swings. There's nothing in a lot of these, like marine keeping's big on this. The focus on balancing the system, and planted tanks in general tend to focus on this. But what I find is, like in your standard aquarium, there's nothing to buffer these things. So as you're adding fresh water and you're adding things to the tank and taking things, like there's nothing to buffer these swings in parameters really. People also worry that the nutrients from the aquatic sediment will lead to uncontrollable algae growth. While it's true that excess nutrients can fuel algae, and it does, a well-planted tank with fast-growing plants will absorb these nutrients, preventing these algae outbreaks. It's only when you've lost balance in a planted tank that you'll get these outbreaks of algae. And it doesn't matter what type of aquarium it is. If your plants are growing well and your tank's well balanced, you won't get algae, whereas if it's not well balanced, you will. There's also a concern that decaying organic matter in the aquarium sediment will cause dangerous ammonia levels. During the initial setup, there may be a brief spike, But as the tank establishes, the plants and beneficial bacteria stabilise the environment, keeping the ammonia levels in check. Lastly, many think that aquatic sediment will be harder to clean and maintain compared to inert substrates. In reality, a well-established sediment-based tank often requires less maintenance because the plants and bacteria work together to keep the ecosystem balanced. In a Walstad method tank, every element from the sediment and the plants, the fish and the microorganisms work together to create a balanced, self-sustaining ecosystem. This natural harmony means that the tank purifies the water, creating a healthier, more stable environment for aquatic life in comparison to a typical aquarium setup. Unlike other setups, a tank with sediment provides a steady, natural source of nutrients, promoting plant growth without the need for frequent fertilisation, which swings parameters. The plants in turn help purify the water, creating a better habitat for the fish and other inhabitants.